All right. Hey there, everybody. My name is Corey Jones, and I'm with Compassion Works for All. We're a nonprofit based out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And we're super glad to have everybody that's on the call with us today and those who are watching the recording later on. Thank you for joining us. At Compassion Works for All, we do provide mindfulness and meditation programs for people in jails and prisons. And we always welcome any supporters, encouragers, volunteers for that work. The one class that we do teach in person still is over at the Pulaski County Jail, and part of Sheriff Higgins' CSI program, as he refers to it. It's a reentry program he started up over at the jail. Really fantastic program, and we get to teach over there a couple times a week for the people that are part of that. And otherwise, the bulk of our work is through the mail, because we still can't get into our Arkansas ADC prison units just yet because of COVID regulations. So we're waiting for that to be lifted. But until then, we correspond with quite a few people. So we're always looking for correspondence volunteers. We're always looking for people who enjoy writing. We have a newsletter that goes out. We have blogs. We have all the stuff. So if ever that's a thing that you're interested in, by all means, please reach out. And I owe it to our board to also say, if you want to donate to our organization, we would also very much appreciate that. You can go to compassionworksforall.org/mind, M-I-N-D, and make your donation there. Okay, today, because we are doing meditation through the COWS library system, I want to talk about one of my favorite books that I've read this year. It's called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. Oliver Burkeman is a journalist by trade, and he spent a whole lot of time trying to figure out how to solve all of his productivity issues. How do I become more productive? How do I become more efficient with my time? And kind of arrived at the realization that you can't. you have a limited amount of time. So you can't get all the things done. And all you're doing by trying to get all the things done is just creating suffering in yourself. And you're making yourself miserable by making this infinite to-do list, trying to mark everything off, while at the same time getting to the things that you actually love about life. And he realized in some of his, not just research, but also trying to implement the best productivity program he could find, he realized just none of them work. Because at the end of the day, it's whatever we give our attention to. And that's one of the main points he makes that I just wanted to share quickly before we get into our meditation time. He says, attention just is life. Your experience of being alive consists of nothing other than the sum of everything to which you pay attention. At the end of your life, looking back, whatever compelled your attention from moment to moment is simply what your life will have been. And I love that. And I highlighted it and underlined it and put a big star beside it. Because I think that's absolutely true. And that's especially true in the world of mindfulness and meditation. If you are new to mindfulness and meditation, it is essentially that. It's focusing your attention, but specifically focusing your attention on the present moment. Because one of the hardest things that we do as people is stay present. It's very easy for our minds to naturally drift to the past, naturally drift to the future, or naturally drift to some alternate reality that doesn't actually exist. Our brains are really clever, and they're really good at coming up with far more interesting things than whatever is happening right now. In fact, even if you're locked in with me right now and you're tracking along and you're paying attention and you're really digging what I have to say, your brain can still come up with something far more fascinating than me and my words right now, because that's just the remarkable nature of our minds. So sometimes it's quite a challenge to really zero in our attention on the thing to which we would like to place it the most. So that's our invitation and our challenge today as we go into this time of meditation, is allow your mind to be here, allow it to be present, and allow your attention to rest squarely on your breath, on your body, and on what your mind is doing. And I'll guide us through that together. We'll be in a meditation time for about 20 minutes together, and it will be guided. I'll allow some space for some times of quiet, but I'll be sure to let you know that that's what I'm doing, so you're not afraid your screen froze up or anything like that. But nevertheless, so as we begin, I invite you into a mindful posture, because posture is critically important in not just in meditation, but also just in our attention. How we hold ourselves is an intentional thing. And so if you're in a chair like me, I invite you to have your feet flat on the floor, your hands folded comfortably in your lap, whatever that means for you. Let your belly be soft. And let your shoulders relax away from your ears. And make sure you're sitting up. You don't want to be rigid, so rigid that you start to struggle and strain, but you also don't want to slouch and just allow your body to be mindless itself. You want your body even to be mindful. So gently, but intentionally at attention. And create a little bit of space between your teeth so that your jaw is not clenched. And angle your face slightly downward. And if it's comfortable for you, you can go ahead and close your eyes. And we'll begin our time with the sound of 3 bells. So today, let's ease our way into our meditation. Let's not try to rush. We know we only have 20 or so minutes together, so we don't have to hurry. And we don't have to panic about what else there is going on. We're fully aware that our time together will end. And so because our time is finite, because it will have a finish line, we're free to just be here. And because it's the noon hour, perhaps you rushed yourself into the meditation time. Perhaps you hurried because you didn't want to miss it, but now it's like your mind is still moving at full speed and the momentum of your thoughts didn't really slow down before our meditation time together. And right now, that's perfectly fine. We're not going to resist. We're not going to struggle or strain. We're just simply going to let our thoughts be what they are while maintaining our mindful posture. Because sometimes the harder we try to really get into a meditative state, the further away from it we get. So we're going to practice simply being. Without requiring anything else of yourself, simply exist right now. And enjoy the feeling of existence. Maybe you haven't paid attention to that today, but you're alive. You woke up this morning. You went through the routine of your day that maybe some days feels monotonous. But take just a moment to wake up, to pay attention, and to rest your attention simply on your existence. How does it feel to you today to be alive? And if your mind is still going, and if it's still moving quickly and it's bouncing from thought to thought or task to task, all the things that still need to be done, that's okay. We're still going to let our mind do whatever it's doing. We're not going to resist or struggle or strain against it. But now we are going to give it a task. We're going to invite our mind to begin to focus on our physical body. Just gently take control of your attention and move your attention down to the bottom of your feet. Without looking at your feet or even moving your feet, just notice the sensation of putting your attention there. Notice the feeling of connecting yourself to the ground on which you're sitting. Notice the feeling of not just being mentally present, but physically present as well in this space and in this time. Let your mind and your body both begin to join together in the same space and in the same time. And gently take hold of your attention again and move it gently up to your knees. Notice how your knees feel. Without moving them, notice how much they're bent. Maybe your knees are a little achy or a little stiff, and we're not going to do anything about that. We're just going to notice. And so gently take hold of your attention again and move it all the way up past your upper legs, past your pelvis, and up into your navel area, right around the belly button. Feel your belly get soft. This was at one time for all of us our source of life when we were connected to our mother in the womb. Many Eastern traditions believe that the source of life, the source of our thought, our heart even, comes from this, from our belly, from our navel area. So let it feel expansive. Let it feel good and full, and grounded. Take just a second to breathe deeply all the way into your belly and feel it as it expands with air. And let's gently take hold of our attention again. Let's bring it up slightly to just the base of our sternum. Some refer to this as the heart center. And just notice any sensations or feelings that you have there. And if while you're doing this, you notice your mind wanders somewhere, it drifts off a bit, perfectly fine. We're just going to gently take hold of it and return our attention to our heart center. We're going to be as gentle with our attention as we would be with a small kitten, a small puppy that we're trying to teach to stay in front of us. We're not going to be harsh. We're not going to be angry. We're not going to be frustrated. We're going to be gentle, loving, kind with ourselves. So gently take hold of your attention again and move it up to your throat. Just notice if your throat is open, if it feels closed or constricted. And for just a second, take an inhale with your throat opened up so that it sounds like the ocean in your ears. And just notice how it feels to breathe that freely, to really open up to allow the oxygen into our body. Try it one more time, taking in an inhale through the nose with your throat open so that it sounds like the ocean in your ears. Gently take hold of your attention again and bring it up to the area just between your eyebrows. Some people refer to this as the third eye, the center of our consciousness. There's not only spiritual connections to the third eye, but there are physical, neurological connections there as well. That's where our prefrontal cortex is in our brain. That's the place where we control our attention. And so by thinking about that spot on our forehead, we activate our prefrontal cortex and we strengthen the connections to it. And finally, take hold of your awareness again, of your attention, and gently move it up to the very top of your head. And again, just begin to take notice of how it feels, the sensations that are there. Now, as we have given our attention a task to do by focusing on the body, just check in quickly with your mind and notice where your mind is, where your thoughts are. Maybe they are still drifting in and out, wandering around. And if that's the case, it's okay. But hopefully you've noticed your thoughts starting to slow down a bit. And perhaps you've noticed that your mind is a little more present now than when we started. And so let's take hold of our attention one more time. And let's now bring it to our breath. Gently inhale and gently exhale through the nose. And as you do, just notice the air as it enters your nose. Notice the air as it leaves. Notice the air as it enters. And notice the air as it leaves. And with a little bit of curiosity, try to pay attention to the physical sensations you feel, the physical sensations of breathing in and the physical sensations of breathing out. And as you do this, as you focus on your breath, also be mindful of what your body is doing. Let your shoulders and your upper torso be completely still. And let your abdomen, your belly, your lower torso do all the work. So on the inhale, let your belly expand out as your diaphragm grows. And then on the exhale, let everything contract back in as the air moves out. And try that a couple of times, intentionally breathing with your belly. Expand on the inhale, contract on the exhale. And do this slowly a few more times. Let's do that together one more time. As you breathe in, notice the physical sensations. And as you exhale, notice the physical sensations. And return to a normal breathing rhythm. Still just paying attention to the in-breath and paying attention to the out-breath. Our breath is foundational to our mindfulness and meditation practice. It's perhaps the most important part, because with our breath, we can instantly and gently take hold of our attention. If our mind is scattered and our mind is wandering and we're having a hard time focusing, simply focusing on our breath for 3 inhales and 3 exhales can almost instantly return control of our attention back into our mind without allowing it to wander all over the place, wandering in and out of the past and the future, wandering into alternative realities. Simply focusing on our inhale, our exhale 3 times can bring a sense of presence and awareness and clarity. Our breath is never in the past, and our breath is never in the future. Our breath is always and only here in the present. And that's why it's so important and so foundational to our mindfulness practice. And it's the best gift we have at living a life of intention and attention. And so after spending some time focusing on our body and spending some time focusing on our breath, let's spend our final 90 seconds or so focused on our mind. Where is our mind right now? Simply hold your awareness on your thoughts. And you might notice that as soon as you try to do that, your thoughts dissipate. And you might think to yourself, it feels like I'm holding awareness on pure emptiness. And that will be true for a few moments. But eventually our mind is going to kick back on and our thoughts are going to drift again. So our goal is not to maintain permanently present awareness. Our goal is to notice whenever our mind has drifted and then gently bring it back. The return is the practice. So for about the final 30 seconds, let's just pay attention to what our minds are doing. Wherever your mind is now, make a note of it, and then gently return it to the present. And at the sound of the bell, you can open your eyes. I hope that was helpful for everyone and that you will remember that our lives really are the sum of our attention. And wherever we place our attention, that's where our lives really happen. So be selective and be discerning of what you give your attention to, because ultimately that is what makes us who we are. So I hope that everyone has a fantastic day and that this has been helpful for you in drawing your attention more into the present.